Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today I'm going to be reflecting on my journey as a small booktuber. I'm going to be looking at some of the positives, perhaps some negatives, and also some criticisms that have been aimed at Booktube as a whole and my response to that. Please stay tuned. Okay everyone, for this video I'm going to be talking about my positive reflections on my journey so far as a booktuber, as well as some negative, I don't like that word so much, some criticisms I might have, or maybe just how I can get better and grow better as a booktuber. First of all, I only became a booktuber at the end of December last year. And in the 2, 3, even 4 years preceding that, our lives were in a bit of an upheaval. We went through a hell of a lot, and we did not have a lot of time for, never mind watching Booktube, but for reading. And since I've become a booktuber, the big positive is that it's changed. My reading tastes have changed, my reading habits have changed. I think more critically about the type of books I'm reading, and I'm still having a lot of fun doing it. And that is something that is a huge positive, because it kind of forces you, but that's not necessarily a negative thing, but it kind of forces you to think about reading and to read a certain number of books and to create content for your channel. And I think that's a positive thing. The second thing that I've absolutely loved about Booktube is making online friends. Now if you think about it, out in the real world, it's not so easy just to approach a clique of friends or people and say, hey, hi, my name's Cliff, I want to be your friend. That just doesn't happen in the real world, where on Booktube it's really such an embracing community. You get to know people, you can kind of liaise with them, and I think a good tip for new booktubers or very young booktubers is to make sure that you watch other people's videos. Make sure you comment on other people's videos and answer the comments that have been made on your own videos. Because the whole purpose of this is to build community and to build each other up as not breaking people down. And I really think also that Booktube is a positive environment. I know that I've heard of people receiving negative comments, and I've had one or two, but for the most part it's a welcoming, caring environment that I really respect. Another positive about watching other people's videos, including larger booktubers and smaller booktubers, is to getting great ideas for reading books. And we're talking about TBRs, adding things to your TBRs, and that's a big positive. Another thing I love doing is coming up with new and creative ideas for videos. Now, I know there's normal book hauls, TBRs, wraps, all these sort of things that I do as well, but I like my top 10s, I like my tags, and I like to come up with new creative ideas. That I look online and there's a whole bunch of different stuff that I aim to actually use in the future. But you know what? What I would love is for you guys, my viewers, to tell me what would you like to see on my channel. What are some really interesting things that you would like me to talk about on this channel? I'd love to hear from you. Okay everyone, now I'm just going to turn to a couple of concerns I have about Booktube. And one word that comes up time and time again is the word consumerism. And I can understand people are concerned that it's kind of becoming quite shallow, that people are just buying hundreds of books that they can't read, and you know, huge book hauls and all of that. I say that's rubbish. I say each to their own. If people are book collectors, these big booktubers who love to collect these gorgeous books, I completely respect that. And I mean, I myself have done a book haul. I might do more, but it would mainly be second-hand vintage paperbacks that I get in our little second-hand store up the road. So I will not be going and splashing out money on big bookshops. But if people are able to do that, and that is something that gives them passion, that is something that they enjoy, why not? There are plenty of other booktube channels that focus mainly on book reviews and smaller things. If you're concerned about booktubers that with all this stuff happening, then don't watch them. Watch what interests you. And that's my attitude about this whole thing. Because I myself love to collect books. That's my passion. I don't have a huge collection as some others do, but that's why I joined, because I want to share my love of books with you. And I want to talk about books, and I want to buy new books and keep up to date a little bit. That's the whole point as far as I'm concerned of BookTube. So I suppose each to their own. It is a bit of a difficult thing, but that's what I have to say about that. The second point, and this is more of a personal thing just for me, I sometimes feel that my TBR puts a lot of strain on my reading. Maybe I'm being too optimistic with trying to read 8 to 10 books a month. I feel that this month I've been in a bit of a reading slump, which is kind of sad. But that's also to do with external factors. Like, for example, if you're going through a bit of a rough patch, if you have, in our case, our government and our power system is seriously failing. We've gone sometimes for 8 to 10 hours without electricity. At this moment we are load shedding. I'm not going to be able to upload this video until another 4 hours later. So there's all these sorts of things that can influence your reading, influence your month. And you know what? That's okay. And sometimes you just got to go with it and not be so hard on yourself. So this month might not be the best month, but I'm going to push through anyway. And maybe next month things will change. And following on from that, I realized you really have to work bloody hard to be a booktuber. And I think those that have started channels are starting to understand. Those people that don't have channels, I don't think you realize how hard you have to work on these videos. And if you do editing and all of that kind of thing, cutting scenes together, which I do, which I try to do, you've got to get your lighting and your sound and everything perfect, the image perfect, a nice background. There's a lot of things to do. And of course, when you upload the video, you've got to write its descriptions, you've got to state things like whether it's for children or not. And of course, when you've uploaded the video and people comment on your video, you need to reply. And I do all of that. I try and reply to every single person that talks to me about my content. And as I said before, if you're going to grow, and this is important for a new booktuber, if you're going to grow, you need to watch other people's channels. You need to comment on these channels. You need to branch out into the community and answer everyone that talks to your channel. That is so important. Okay, and another tip, and this is something negative that I had to learn the hard way a little bit. And that is, sometimes you've got to keep your thoughts to yourself, whether it's about an author or a book. Don't get over emotional. Remember that you're on a public platform and that people are obviously sometimes going to see things differently to yourself. So if you do open up and become all over emotional and critical about something and get negative about stuff, expect a backlash. So I'm really honestly trying to be as positive as possible. I don't like to bash books either. In fact, on Goodreads, when I read a book that's 1 or 2 stars, I don't review it. I don't like writing 1-star reviews. I think it's a complete waste of time, and it's negativity that we don't actually need. So when I talk about books, yes, I might say that this book wasn't great, but I'm not going to go on and on about it. I might say a few things about, okay, I didn't like it for this reason, but don't bash the author. Maybe talk about 1 or 2 things in a book, but then move up to the books that you really enjoyed and talk about those. But be honest with yourself. It's very, very important not to just speak your mind without thinking about it first. At first things that come into your head. Don't censor yourself completely, but just think before you speak. And I had to learn about that with one of my videos as well. Okay, point number 4, or the next point, is be true to yourself. If there are certain types of videos that make you happy, then do them. For instance, I love doing tags, but as far as I can see, when I look at the number of views and all of that stuff, tags don't do very well, but that doesn't matter. If you enjoy doing a kind of video, you're doing it to make you happy, do it. Another thing is I also love horror movies, and I've noticed that the 2 videos I've made so far on horror movies haven't done quite as well, but that doesn't matter. I could bet you anything, if you look at any horror tuber, there are going to be videos on movies, because movies and books, horror, it's all linked together. But I can tell you, as my viewers, that will be few and far between. Pretty much all my content will be on books. But I will continue doing tags, and I will continue to do things that make me happy. Because if you're happy and you show that passion, your channel will grow, regardless of how many likes and subscribes and all that stuff you get. Of course I look at those things. Everyone does. Everyone that starts a channel wants to see their channel grow. But there's no point on dwelling on it to the point where you are not happy with what you're doing and with the videos that you're making. So I think that's a very important thing to consider. Be true to yourself, be honest with yourself about what you like and what you want to show on your videos. Okay, finally, and this might be this perhaps a sore point in the community for some people, I don't know, I don't think so. But there's definitely a sense that there's a hierarchy between small booktubers who never get noticed, and then you've got your middle booktubers and then your huge booktubers. I think small booktubers like myself and many others need to realize that you have to work bloody hard to actually get your channel up and growing. And I have full respect for some really awesome big booktubers that have grown over the years. They've worked hard at their channel over many years, and they deserve that respect. And I don't think they should be given any disrespect. And I've noticed by watching a couple of big booktuber channels that there have been more negative reviews or negative comments, and I suppose that kind of sucks, because as you grow bigger you attract more negative attention, which I don't know if that's normal or not, but that's kind of sad, because it is hard work, and these guys have been doing it for some of them up to like 3 to 5 years. I've been doing it for barely 4 months, 3.5 months. So the whole thing, tip for new booktubers: be consistent. Don't get kind of sad when things don't go your way and your channel's not growing as quickly as you think it should be. Be consistent, be positive, be happy in what you're doing, and just keep churning out that good content that's making you happy. And even if you have a small subscriber base, look after them and things will work out in the long run. But I've seen a lot of young booktubers that just give up. I have no intention of giving up. I'm going to keep going. So it's a good end for new booktubers. Okay everyone, that's all I have to say about my journey and my thoughts as a small booktuber. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. Maybe you could add 1 or 2 points that I wasn't thinking about. If you agree or disagree with my points. Once again, let's be gentle with each other. This is a community, but take care of yourselves. Keep those pages turning. Cheers.